Welcome back to the Paul's Podcast. We are here with a very special episode. We have a special guest today, Lyndsey Blalock. How you doing, Lyndsey?
I'm doing all right today.
I thought this was Gary.
No, we are glad to have you.
I love Gary.
We actually, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and give a quick backstory. Her dad, my Uncle Gary,
Is he actually your uncle?
No, I just call him Uncle Gary.
Sorry.
Go back, man. We go way back.
And we've always known each other, and her dad and my dad are good friends. But there's an episode that released talking about youth camp, and he has been our counselor when we were little boys, like in the junior campers.
Yep.
He was our counselor for so long, and so this is how the connection come about. But Lyndsey, will you go ahead and tell us your position in education?
Yeah, so I am the principal at Shine Light Academy, and I also teach, coach, do a lot of different things, but that's pretty much
the gist of it.
How long have you been doing it?
This is my third year. So I started actually March of 2020 when the
COVID.
pandemic hit. Yeah.
It's a good time to start something.
I was teaching at another school, doing that
smoking.
online, and then I was on campus. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And so one thing that we wanted to bring her on for, and this episode really is going to focus, we're going to interview her, but we're going to focus in on, what, life as a teacher, as a principal, education, that kind of thing. But before we do that, we are going to review Bang.
What is
Bang.
it, CJ?
Y'all got to do your thing.
We have
One thing. Oh, hey, Jessica.
Bang.
Bang.
Yeah, there you go.
We have the Raging Raspberry Hibiscus.
Hibiscus.
Go for it.
Hibiscus.
His biscuits.
Hey,
His
man,
biscuits.
Give me some of his biscuits.
His
All right, guys,
biscuits.
let's try it.
All righty.
Well, that tastes like deer jerky.
Deer jerky.
The raspberry flavor is nice, but that floral taste on the end, that's rough.
I will say it does taste like a flower.
funeral home.
Went up and
Give me chills.
Oh, man.
went and licked the side of a casket.
I got a sort. Yep, that's Raging Raspberry
I'm
Hibiscus.
going to be honest with you. That is nasty.
That's pretty rough.
All right, 1 out of 10. Go, Justice
I
Burke.
give it a 3.
Oh, okay.
3.7. I'm
Okay.
going to throw it way off his side.
I like it.
I'm going to go 4.5.
4.5?
I got a sore throat from drinking that. I'm going to go 2.
I'm going to go 2.9.
I revert. I want to go to a 1. I hate it.
Yeah,
Now
it
that I'm
wasn't
sitting here
good.
thinking about it, it's terrible.
It's
I'm
nasty.
I'm doing a 0.
Pretty bad.
0? I think you can do that.
It's
I
off.
think you can do that.
0.
So to get this episode opened up and started off, we're going to kind of break the ice a little bit, and we're just going to go ahead and ask you, what has been your craziest experience as a principal, teacher, administrator, coach? I mean, what is the funniest, craziest moment?
I had, there's so many.
guarantee
We really just had a situation, but I think that maybe I'm going to pass on that one for a second, but because if I want to be able to put this, go listen to this on my personal, and people will be listening to it, know what I'm talking about.
But that's something I actually talked to my mom. She worked at the school. And
Your mom was one of those parents, wasn't she?
she's taught in different schools and stuff like that. And she
What's
said,
going on in here?
My little Seth not getting enough PT.
Exactly. But that's one thing Mom has always talked about being, kind of the worst part of it is the kids that just aren't hygienic. And they come up to your desk and they're like, hey, can I get some help with this? And Mom's like,
Yeah, well, what you're going to do right here.
it's just completely just
Man,
does
and the
it.
younger you get, they've got, all kinds coming out of their nose, coming out of their mouth, they're coughing, and
Just
you can
nasty.
see it. You
So
can
that's
it's
nasty.
no wonder COVID started in a Christian school. It
That's
had
the
to.
truth. That's the truth.
That's like me for education. That's why I want to stay like middle school, high school, is because I don't know if
Yeah.
I can be around. I mean, obviously, I want to be a dad one day, but like the snot and like the full diapers and stuff,
Man. Well, I mean,
Can't do it.
we had a kid in kindergarten that woke up and had been doing some finger painting on the wall, and it wasn't with paint, man. So I mean, a 5-year-old.
we actually had that happen at the high school. We're having an issue with that at the high school. So
Which opens the door,
Yeah.
CJ. So you actually work in education as well. So you give us your background, and this is what I kind of drawn.
So I graduate App State December 16th. Thank the Lord for it. I'm actually just finishing up my student teaching. Obviously, App State does a fantastic job of like internships. So we've got like a lot of experience in elementary, middle, and high schools. And I'm not the partier. Not the partier. I've got a reputation to uphold.
Facts.
But so I student teach at the high school in Wilkes right now. And it's going extremely well. Like, I love it. And, they're like cooperative, and you kind of engage with them and make your sarcastic jokes, and they understand it. So that's probably why I want to stay with high school. Because if I go to elementary school and I make a sarcastic joke, they're like, what does that mean?
Right.
Which can be fun in its own way.
Right.
Yeah. But the diapers, the vomit
Especially
and
those
the
12-year-olds.
snot. Hey, teacher, can you help me with this?
I'm gonna need you to take 2 steps back there, pal.
Calm down, son.
See, I'm not built for that. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I don't have the temperament for
Oh, no.
kids. Like, I mean, okay, well, yeah. If it was my kid, I can smack it. Be like, hey, back up. But for
Give me some space.
yeah, I mean, like, hey, I don't know who you are, man. You need to back up.
Yeah.
Like, when I have to deal with bus kids at our church, I love them to death, but sometimes I'm just like, if I was your parent, you would walk with a limp. Because I smacked you so hard.
Yeah.
But no, I'm just.
But it's
good
just an
from,
aggressive guy.
It's good from like the education standpoint though too, to see like some kids that are doing rough or struggling, like whether it's like educationally, like in their grades and stuff, to see them progress and just become good human beings
Right.
and successful individuals and have a plan after high school, or
is.
even the elementary school. So I'm
Back
sure
in
you've
5th grade, I was doing some finger painting. Now he's an artist.
Yeah, you got to take that finger painter and turn him into something
Michael
special.
D'Angelo.
Also, that's the next Picasso.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
And I'm putting in my retirement today.
Where did you get the inspiration for this? Well, I was in 5th grade.
It all goes back.
You're not going to believe this.
Stinky
man.
situation. What's the name of this painting? My stuff don't stink. Pause.
Wow, man. But, that's another thing, too. And actually, I've been thinking of questions, and one of the biggest ones I wanted to ask you, working in a Christian school, and CJ just led into it, talking about seeing them in their lives and seeing things. How do you, it's hard to balance, as I would think, and you kind of tell us how it is for you. And so you have the Christian school, and this is Christian education, and first and foremost, you want to try to get them to the Lord. But you got to have their you're paid for their education.
Right.
And so how do you have maybe situations where students aren't trying or students aren't doing what they need to do, they're not doing well in school, behavior issues, different things like that. How do you differentiate between I just got to get this kid his education and I have a burden for this kid? Like I want him to do
That's
something
a great
one
question.
day.
We talk about it a lot, and there's really no black and white answer.
Right.
It is truly trying to be spirit filled and spirit led, because you might be, and I tell my teachers this all the time, we might be the only experience that these kids have with the gospel.
Right, and because it becomes more than just, at that point, it becomes more than we got to get this girl education. It becomes you're like, man, this girl, her problem is not education. Her problem is deeper than that. And and that's in working in youth and dealing. You work in the youth department, and we've grown up around it. And that's a lot of times that's what we see in kids most of the time. Their problems, aren't that they're not smart enough to get this done. It's just they don't have a heart to care.
I think the middle ground here.
Yeah.
I'm not like an aggressive person.
Right.
Like, so I work with the youth at the church.
Right.
We have some kids that are smart mouths. Y'all know
Yeah.
me pretty well. I don't like a smart mouth.
Oh, definitely not.
I don't have a smart mouth. Well, I don't like to be smarted off too.
Right.
And
Hypocrite.
yeah.
we hate in others what we hate in ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That is true.
So, for me, I guess the balance is just trying to figure out, okay, let's take a chill pill. Let's not smack them.
Yeah.
And let's talk to them.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Bible says a soft answer turneth away wrath.
Sure.
Right.
And so I have to adapt that motto when I'm talking to these kids. I had one time, and they listen to the podcast. You'll know who he is. I love him to death. He's actually family. And he got mad, just flew off the handle. And now I'm the type, when I get mad at you, like I'm trying to get your attention, I'm in your face, eye to eye with you. And I was in his face, eye to eye with him. And I was letting him have it in a nice way. I could have been a whole lot meaner. I could have yelled at him.
Right.
And I think it worked like that way. I wasn't in his face, but I was up there. He knew.
It was clear that you
Yeah.
were serious.
I was
Right.
like, hey man, I'm done with your junk. If you're going to act this way, you're going home.
Right.
Like, I mean, we don't have to put up with it. And matter of fact, I won't put up with it.
Right.
I said, you clean your act up. Or I said, I'll call your parents. And I said, you don't know what's going to happen if I call your parents.
Yeah.
I said, we'll send you hind in home.
Right.
Yeah.
And I said, matter of fact, if you want to keep running your mouth, let's go sit down with the pastor right now.
Yeah.
And immediately his demeanor changed.
Yeah,
And
Right.
I said, if you want to run this route, let's run this route. I'm more than willing to. And
And that kid was Justice Burkett.
no, it was.
And look at him now.
Look at him. Look at
how
me
far
now.
he's
And then he got
gone.
saved.
He's got the preacher cut and everything.
Oh man, that's what I'm talking about.
But
We're
yeah,
praying he gets
I
called to
think
preach.
I don't know. I'm not administration. There's no way I could be. Just
Right.
I
We
like confrontation.
That sounds that's a problem.
I like it. And so.
But no, I think even what you're saying though, you gave him an opportunity, you know, and
Yeah.
you gave
Pick your
him
poison.
a chance. Like, here's the line.
We ended up being
Right.
This is where we're at. And,
Yeah.
It made me so mad. Like it was better for me to just take it to the pastor, which is my dad. So I was like, I said, all right, man. I said, look, if you want to run your mouth, if you want to say these dumb things, let's go talk to the pastor. No. I'm like, no, come on, let's go. You big and bad. Let's go. Come on.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
And so I took him down there, and about 2 minutes later, he was crying. He come back and apologized.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I mean, he's a good kid. He's got to learn to control his anger.
We did have a kid who we asked to leave, and
Right.
And it broke my heart, man. It was
Yeah.
it was terrible. But later
Sometimes you
on,
gotta do
he sent me an email, and he said, I appreciate you doing that because it made me realize I got to straighten up my stuff.
Well, not only that, it comes to the point where you have to say, is what this person or this student or this person in the youth group, are they affecting the other
That's it.
students
That's
so
it.
much?
Right. That's it.
Yeah. And I think that's where you have to draw the line.
Mm-hmm.
And Justice, we'll let you give a question. I know you've probably been over there, Bruin, getting us a good one,
yeah, he's ready.
getting a good one ready to go.
He's ready.
I feel like you're probably going to ask something, more on the
What's your
coaching
favorite
side,
color?
You know?
Yeah. What has been like your favorite coaching year?
Yeah, I think
the past 3 years.
Yeah.
My sister's senior year, so that would have been 2019 basketball, and we really didn't have a talented team at all. Faith is very athletic. I wouldn't necessarily say she's a skilled basketball player, but she's very athletic, and she's a big girl as far as she's about 5'8", and she's. Well, one time she plowed into me on the court, stepped on my shorts, yanked my shorts down right there in front of God and everybody. And the thing is, I was trying to run away from her. But side note,
yeah.
but yeah. So that year we were not talented, but they bought in and they started playing hard, playing for each other. And we had a playbook. Man, they probably learned 30 plays that year to be prepared.
Wow. High school
Because
basketball, that's a lot.
That's
a lot.
And girls. And but they didn't have the ability to just play off of each other.
Right.
So they needed sets that they understood what was supposed to happen.
They couldn't freelance and
they
get
bought
it.
into it. And Faith scored like 650 points that season.
Wow.
She broke she had 45 in a game, single season. I mean, it was
Sounds like she smoked most of y'all.
Man, she was tough, and it was great.
Yeah.
It was like third place in the state. Beat Alamance, beat Tabernacle.
Okay.
Took care of all
So
of it.
I have a question for you.
The significance.
What's who would you say your biggest rival is? So for those
Shining
who
Light or
don't
for
know,
Gospel Light?
where do you go?
So I'm the principal at Shining Light, but I went to Gospel Light my whole.
So
I can
Shining
give
Light,
you both.
what they don't know, for y'all that don't know, she competes against my high school.
And she competed against mine where I was at in
I went to
Tabernacle.
Alamance Christian
care of all
School.
of y'all.
Shout out. Not in baseball.
I'll get into that.
No,
I didn't.
that's true.
Not in baseball. We smoked them in baseball. That's what I played.
Townsend Road out there.
Yeah. Well, one year Gospel Light beat us, but barely. I was so mad. I don't get mad at sports, but this one made me mad.
Oh.
It was a bad call by the ref.
Of course.
It
always
was.
is.
It was low.
Okay.
It was very. I was up batting.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you,
So
I've
it
played
was low.
baseball for years.
Okay.
I would have to do a golf ball swing to have hit this ball.
Yeah.
And it was at my shin bones.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Strike through, you're out." I looked at him. Daddy said, "Nope, get to the dugout. Get to the dugout."
Because Dylan, the guy who loves confrontation, was about to take a swing at the
I went,
You know I got a bat, right?
Some of that Aaron Judge stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Daddy said, "Nope, come back,
Come
come
on
back."
down.
And I was like, "Okay." And then that was it. The game was
Yeah.
over. But
Well-
I went to Alamance Christian School. We're rivals against them. Actually, our biggest rival was Vandalia.
Vandalia.
Matthew
We had
Hobbs.
some bad blood with Salem Christian.
Yeah.
That's across town.
Witchcraft.
I think when I went to Tabernacle, we always Sheets
Y'all got
Memorial
up-
was the one we
yeah,
couldn't
they
stand.
got up for Sheets.
And that was. But honestly, this is a cool story about me and Lyndsey. So my 9th grade year, our JV basketball team, I think we were the only team left undefeated at that point. I can't remember.
when we
made JV.
came down
When
here
y'all
and
came-
scraped it out.
Well, yeah, and
okay, yeah,
so
yeah.
at that
was,
point,
it's one of my favorite games.
it was a
man.
great game. We're about to go on Christmas break, really.
Mm-hmm.
So we're trying to go undefeated into the Christmas break, because that's a good feeling.
Yeah, you've been talking all summer.
We had been I've been
Yeah,
talking to her
talking
because
all
she had
straight,
her and her they were coaching the JV team.
Uh-huh.
And they get there, and at this point, we're like family. We're all close.
Well, sure.
It's a little personal. Like, I want to win, and we want to go into it undefeated. We're feeling really good about our season. And, well, we go up on you guys, like, by 10, and then you guys call a timeout and somehow devised a game plan.
They said a prayer.
This is why it's on my mind. I got to ask it. Do
Yeah.
y'all have a baseball field, or do y'all use a soccer field and mark it off?
At Gospel Light or Shining Light?
Shining Light.
Shining Light, we do have a baseball field.
A baseball
And
field.
it's a baseball field, and they'll put the soccer goal. Like
Right.
at Gospel Light,
It's a soccer field. Okay, at
And the
Gospel Light, that's where I hit a
baseball.
home run.
Yeah.
I hit a home run at Gospel Light.
Because
Almost
it was
two.
small.
Huh?
Because it was
No,
small.
I mean that's
That's a
No.
big field. I've seen the field.
The fence
you
was
hit one-
regulation,
yeah,
like as far
that's-
as
that's
distance.
smash.
It just wasn't high. But
Right.
I smacked it way over the fence.
Oh yeah.
But
out
back
into the creek out there.
Don't
back to
take
what
that
I was
from me.
back to what I was saying.
I almost
Look,
hit
you needed
two.
this side note, home run.
Yeah, and
Congratulations.
back to what we were saying about that game. So we go up on, and it was a scrappy game. I mean, everybody was
that
on
was
the
with
floor.
Austin, Isaac,
Yeah, and then
Those guys.
that's when it was
Daniel Hawtrey.
at that time our JV team.
Doing a
We
lot of
had
name
some
dropping.
big boys. We look like a football team.
That's y'all
That's
were
exactly
big.
what
Y'all just weren't
everyone
very-
would say about us.
Y'all didn't have a lot of ball handling.
Yeah,
shooting that
ball
Even that
handling.
Aldridge kid.
Y'all were scrappy,
Just
man.
catch
We
and
were.
shoot,
I mean,
catch and shoot, boys.
We were. If you could stop us in the post, I mean, that's how you could stop us because we were just big boys, and which I wasn't. I was one of the guards, but it was a scrappy game. But I just remember after the game, we lost. We ended up losing that game by I think. I mean, it wasn't a big margin, but
was
I think
enough.
it was enough. I mean, we lost.
Was Jeremy
And-
Green on your team?
No, Jeremy, I didn't. But no, but
They would have lost by more than a small margin.
Hey,
I like that little look you did at the camera.
yeah. Oh no.
Hold on.
But
Jeremy, we love you.
yeah, we
Shout out.
sometimes-
We do,
yeah,
we
we
love
do.
you.
Shout out.
But at the end of the game, I can remember getting to the end of that line, shaking hands, and Gary and Lyndsey were down there, and I just remember thinking, I
Blowing
lost,
kisses.
yeah, I did, but these are my friends, my family, and
Did you
a lot of
rub
people
it-
at my school didn't like that because when the Blaylocks would come to town, I'd go sit with them, hang out with them. They're like, "You traitor?" I'm like, "Nah, I've just known these people longer than I've known you."
Did you rub it in his face when y'all
man.
won that game?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The person who rubbed it in the most was
Absolutely.
actually Faith.
Faith.
Faith was brutal about
Faith's
it.
aggressive.
Yes,
Yeah.
she made me feel kind of
Yeah.
bad, but whatever.
Good,
So-
good memories.
We've talked about pretty rough experiences at your school, like principal and wise, and even throughout education, or maybe like even during your school experience. But what's been your favorite
memory.
education experience? Favorite.
It is always anytime that. Well, I'll tell you this. My first year, and my first year was very, very challenging because I'm a peacemaker. I'm the oldest of four, and so I kind of adopted.
have to.
There's 10 years between me and Faith, so I'm a peacemaker. And so taking on this role, which of course is a male-dominated role as a leader of a school,
Right.
it took me a little bit of getting used to because you have to make hard decisions, right? And you
Yeah.
have to
You have to
cut
yell at the
kids loose,
kids.
and it's tough. And I mean, but kicking kids out and these bigger things
I
were
would
a
love that
challenge
job.
for me.
You're out
And,
here, champ. Sorry. Next time, don't draw on the wall with your feces.
Exactly, please. But it goes back to what you said. There's, every time that I cut a kid loose, I would feel like we've missed the opportunity to evangelize, and it would break my heart. So, but we had a kid who is actually at Bob Jones right now. His name is Alex, and he got saved, and he got really, really saved, and it was something. man.
Wow.
I
thought that was funny. I'm so sorry.
He's really, really
He
saved.
really, really saved.
Well, but not just the type of profession
There's
where
degrees?
they come down and
There's-
they come on down and
Yeah.
I got what you mean.
but
I will say
I have a
this.
he was
question.
crying. He was tore up.
to
He was
ask
crying.
her.
My dad was actually preaching.
That's right.
My dad
He
was
was.
preaching that school
School
revival.
revival.
And this is just how things come full circle. I live in Greenville where Bob Jones is at. He
And
goes
he's
to Bob
good.
Jones now. He actually attends our church faithfully. He is out of all of our college students, he's probably the most faithful college student.
Loves God.
He's here every Sunday morning, every Sunday night, every Wednesday night. Shout out to him. I've not talked to him much, but man, he's just consistent, very consistent
I
guy.
have a question.
Yeah.
So I think you can answer this. The importance of Christian education. All right.
Yeah.
So I went to Christian school at Adelmance for high school. I was homeschooled up until then went to Christian college. You, I'm assuming, went to Gospel Light?
I went to gospel, and then I went
And then
to
you went to a secular college.
university. Yeah.
Okay. So there's a bunch of conflicting areas here. I've heard. I'm not trying to make division. Some people think you should go to a Christian college. Some people think you should go to a secular college. For me, I went to a Christian college because I thought that's what the Lord wanted me to do.
Right.
So what's your opinion on secular education versus Christian education?
Well, At the high school level, I'm Christian education, and it's not just because I'm in it. You know, I've been in the public school system, and just how limited you are. And it's not just the spiritual limitations, which are obvious, but academically, where you can take your classes, the things you can talk about, and even just you have pacers, like where you're supposed to be and how, you know, and it's just a challenge to really, really educate kids. And honestly, there's some brainwashing going on just in the way that you're taught to think.
You're talking about secular
and public school,
And so we look at ourselves not just as an alternative, but as a real academic product where we're providing kids an opportunity to be successful academically in a spiritual and a Christian environment where they're getting our motto is actually arming leaders for Christ. And that's our goal is to give them a well-rounded education, but give them an opportunity.
Name.
There you go.
Yeah. Leaders for life.
That's with like Christian colleges or just Christian high school now, where public school and secular colleges are pushing such what they believe
radical agendas.
Pushing agendas.
It
They're
is
not
true.
teaching them education anymore. And you know how people pick around about homeschoolers, and Christian school are not knowing as much. But
no,
really now, you're going to learn a whole lot more in Christian education
with the whole thing
because you're not trying to push an agenda on some kid.
Right, exactly.
And I went to public high school.
Right, that's what I was about to say. I'm not against secular.
No. I think it's good. I think a lot of people confuse like the lack of education actually compared to homeschool because some parents can drop the ball, but Christian schools still have a curriculum to follow. They still have standards to meet. I think if you went through public school and you went through a secular college, because I'm a preacher, I'm saved. I mean, you can be a lot of it.
I think a lot of it. But here's the key. I think a lot of it has to be you're grounded and you need to have a good home life.
Because I had classes, and you probably did too, especially at UNCG. Like they specifically, like I had an English class that specifically set aside like liberal agendas and would push them. And I'm like, I'm not even reading anything. I'm not even reading books.
Right.
Yeah, and
you're right.
Well,
but you have to be grounded. And I think if you
there was something you said I was going to ride off of.
Well, while you think of that, I'll say this. I'll say, with secular and then you have Christian education and homeschool. Me and Justice, I think we were probably homeschooled. I was homeschooled up until 8th grade. And then he was homeschooled his entire life. And, the Bible always talks about, the mother and the father's responsibility to train a child. Well, in this day and age and time, school systems are put in place. You have to they're put in place
of the parents.
Exactly.
Because the parents are not
but the public school is teaching them their agendas.
People have become so busy with work and technology, they depend on the school system and the government to raise their children.
Right. Whereas at a Christian school, and this is just my belief, I think at a Christian school, you're entrusting another family because you want them to look at you as I'll be their school mom. I'm going to take care of them. I want to train them what they need to know.
Right.
Another thing to take into consideration is some people can't afford that.
Exactly. And
so I know Alamance. Nothing against I loved Alamance. It was expensive. To go to school.
I will say that the opportunity scholarship, the creation of the opportunity scholarship, we have that in North Carolina.
Okay. I don't know if they have that.
I don't know. I don't know if they have it in South Carolina. We do have it in North Carolina, but it's an income-based grant that allows kids to have the opportunity to have Christian education,
which is great.
And it's amazing.
Oh yeah,
that's the thing. Like if you go to a public school, I don't think you're wrong.
No,
I think if CJ went to a public school and he's a good guy. Yeah, that's it goes back to the income thing. CJ went, and I ain't saying you couldn't. That's just where you went to school was public.
Right.
And CJ's turned out he's a pretty daggone
I'll
good
relate
kid.
it to this, especially with the teachers and things. The Christian has an environment where it's all set and specific. When you're in a public school, it's really based on the teachers. I mean, there's still standards and curriculum to meet, but they can kind of influence their own.
Like my wife teaches in a public school.
Yeah, and she probably does some kind of push, like influence in a positive manner and encourage. But like some teachers can also do the same thing and believe the complete opposite.
But I think public school where they messed up was they took prayer out and they took the Bible.
Yeah,
I believe that. I believe if we still had that, public school would have some point of sanity to it sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
But my whole thing with the secular school system is just the radical agendas they try to push.
And I mean, universities more.
Yeah, mainly colleges. Because I've known, here it is, it's back. All right. I've known some good kids who has been homeschooled, raised right, and then they head off to a secular college and they come back.
Within 1 year.
1 year, radical liberals, like hardcore socialism.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm like, dude, you were not raised that way.
Oh, yeah.
But that just goes to show you, from the very beginning, they didn't know. They didn't know.
What they do is, and even at UNCG, they get you into this mindset of tolerance.
Yeah.
And so it's not like they just come out and they're like, oh, you need to believe in socialism. You need to believe in and support gay marriage, whatever.
Yeah.
It's this idea of
Accepting.
Right.
and tolerating. And so it slowly wears on you. And that plays off of how we feel as Christians, because you're like, well, I do need to love people.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I do
You do.
need
Yeah.
to. And then before you know it, you're like, well, what's wrong with that?
Right.
And
Yeah.
it doesn't affect me. And then the next thing
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
you're
That's
like,
good.
well,
That's a
And
good
I
way of
believe
putting
very-
it. They're pushing tolerance more than anything.
It is.
They just want us to
Because that's-
tolerate.
that you get to a point where you're like, no, you stay away from them. Don't
Yeah.
talk about it. Don't be around them.
Right.
And then they easily slow in. Well, you need to love them.
Yeah.
And you do. You need,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, you
Love
have
the
to,
sin
you
or
have
hate
to-
the sin.
You have
Right.
to make a stand that,
Right.
yes, I love you and I want to be try to be a light to you.
Right.
But what you're doing, we
We
don't
can't.
agree.
We don't agree with.
We
We
do.
can't. And we can't
Lifestyle.
support
Right.
it.
Your
we have
lifestyle,
to
we
draw a
don't.
line in the sand.
They
Yeah.
do it for every other religion. They'll draw a line in the sand for every.
Yeah.
Oh, they don't believe that,
Absolutely.
so we can't believe that.
Yeah.
But then
Right.
it's Christianity, and they're like,
Absolutely.
no, you can't do
Yeah.
that. That's not
Absolutely.
right. So
But I mean, I think if you're going to go to a secular society, definitely pray about it. Or
College.
secular college,
Yeah.
pray
Definitely
about
pray
it.
about
You got to
And,
be grounded.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I went to Pensacola Christian College. I loved my time there. I just
Eagles.
go Eagles. PCC. I was not a big college person. I had a 4-year degree, and then I switched 2 years and got out of there. So I'm not.
love that.
I was for me. I'm the type of person I would rather work by the sweat of my brow, and
Yeah. And there's
just work,
people like
work
that.
my
Yeah, that's how
hind
my
end
brother
off
is.
and make a good living, then have a big job with a good degree, working in a high rise. I would way rather work by the sweat
yeah.
of my brow than ever
Absolutely.
have to go back to college.
Yeah.
It wasn't for me.
This is kind of unrelated, but just one of my first weeks at UNCG, I'm walking on the sidewalk. This is just tell you how secular college can be. I'm walking down the street, sidewalk there, trying to get to my next class. It was a beautiful day, and I was kind of enjoying the weather, and I hear something. I hear, meow, meow, and I'm like, what? There's a cat somewhere. I'm an animal person. I'm like, there's a cat, man. Look up into the tree, and there's a young lady up there dressed as a cat and had the ears.
Wow.
Had the
She
tail.
identifies as a
What
cat.
She
year was
identified
this?
as a cat.
What
man.
year
that
was
was
this?
back in probably 2011,
And isn't it crazy how much that has blown up now? Those
Yeah.
people
Man.
dressing up
Furries.
like cats.
They're called furries.
Yeah,
It started at UNCG.
our public
She saw them up in the tree.
I saw the first
I
one.
saw the first.
That's crazy. I love it.
I know we got to close out. We at our public schools, we had kids actually request they put litter boxes in the
Oh
bathroom.
yeah,
Yes,
it's crazy.
Yes,
North
I
High.
saw that. Dude,
You know what you tell
That's
them?
where your ass
That's when you.
Yeah.
That's when you pull them into the office. Yeah, we're gonna have to kick you out.
Yeah.
This is a public school, but you're gone. Yeah.
You're asking something that is
does
not.
not include you.
Right, and as we're winding down,
You cleaning it? Are you cleaning the litter box? Because I'm not cleaning it.
Back to that finger paint.
Yeah.
That's just that's
Leonardo
the
da
paint
Vinci.
from.
You know, as
Get out of here. Get out of here.
but as we're winding down, we understand something, and this is the reason, one of the main reasons.
I'd make them
and
live outside.
that we wanted to that we wanted to bring Lyndsey on is education is important.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
need your high school education. You need to
High school
study.
education is important.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
After
I'm not
that,
saying
You need education.
You need to be educated
Base.
basically, and that's the
college.
if
You want to go to college, go to college. If you
Study to
don't,
show thyself approved. Don't be ignorant. In the Bible,
trade jobs pay good too.
they do,
do.
and they do. I'm not kidding. I mean, trade is what.
And matter of fact,
most us
trade
do.
jobs are dying out.
You're right.
My barber is begging me to go to barber school. I'm not going to
Do
do
it,
it,
man.
but
Do it.
Do it, dude.
I'm doing it.
You need a good
You heard it from
barber.
here, honey.
Christian
I'm going to barber
barber.
school.
Taking my talents to
I'm not-
work.
I'm going to open up a coffee shop called Hebrews Coffee.
I like it.
You like that?
I like
You see that on the
Trademark.
internet.
Okay, but back to moving on. But back to what we were saying, it's important, and in some field you need to be educated. And there's a story in the Bible, and this is kind of where Jephthah. He had to look back on the history of his nation to figure out how to win a war.
Right.
And he looked back and he saw how his forefathers did it. And then he took it and used it, that history and that historical knowledge. And you can look at history and you can learn so many things. You can.
History repeats itself eventually.
Yeah, it's true. And so there's so many things you can look at and you can understand, I need to know this. I need to put this in life and practical. And we appreciate all the teachers out there, all the principals,
Absolutely.
all the people that work in education.
You the real MVPs.
You really are. are. I mean,
Yes.
you
do
deal
something.
with some people that no one
rough
could deal
out
with.
there.
I'm telling you what.
If I was in education in your shoes, I'd smoke a pack of cigarettes a day. I know I would. I don't smoke, but I know I would.
Yeah, I bet.
They'd
But
be out there. Where's the principal?
I can't handle it. Leave me alone. I'm gonna lose it.
Class.
But no.
But anyways, thank you guys for tuning in today. We've had a great time, a blast interviewing Lyndsey. We're so thankful that she got to come on and share some of her wonderful experiences. And we will see you guys next week. We'll see you.